Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing great at home. Today we're going to finish with the last lesson of unit number 4. In this opportunity, we're going to be doing a target activity of listening where we're going to be talking about important events in your life. Okay, so we're going to be talking about past events. Now, let's have a look at the exercise. So here we have some images, right? And at the right of the screen, we have a girl, right? He's Onyanye. So she was born in Nigeria, but she grew up in the UK. She talks about her memories of moving to Scotland when she was a child. So this was an important event in her life, right? So here we have some images, right? Of the two places in where she lived, right? So what difference between Nigeria and Scotland do you think she will talk about by looking at these two images, right? Here, pay attention to the weather, right? We have a very snowy city with lots of cars, right? People with umbrellas. Then we have a snowman, right? And here we have two men, right, enjoying from a very sunny day, right, in the backyard of a house, maybe. He looks like he's reading something, maybe. So we're going to listen now to her description, right, to her story. And what I want you to do is to circle the correct words to complete each sentence. All right? So let's do that.
Track 53.
I remember when my family moved from Nigeria to Scotland. That was an important event. I was 5 years old, so I was very young, and it's a very different country because Nigeria is very hot and sunny in Africa, and Scotland is very cold and wet, yes, and in Europe, and the country itself is very different. My memories of Nigeria, I was only 5, so I don't have too many, but a lot of red sand, and the trees were different, the houses were different, everything was different. But when I moved to Scotland, at first it was like a big holiday because we were moving and it was very exciting until the first winter, and I saw snow for the first time, which was a shock. And it was a big thing. We all went outside and we built a snowman and we had lots of fun, but it made us all realize that it wasn't a holiday anymore.
Okay, so remember that if you need to listen again to the recording, you can pause the video and go back, all right? So let's see. We have number 1. So she moved when she was 5 or 15 years old. When she was 5, right? She was very little when they moved to Scotland. She says everything was different, right? So she said that the houses were different, the city itself, right? The trees, the weather was very different, right? In Nigeria, she had a red sun all over, and then in Scotland, it was winter, right? So a lot of snow and a very wet weather. She remembers or doesn't remember the first time she saw snow. She remembers, right? She talks about the first time she saw snow, and she said she enjoyed playing in the snow, right? It was a very happy time, and then she realized that it wasn't a holiday anymore and that she was going to be living in Scotland for a long period of time, right? Very good. Now, she mentions some expressions about her experience. So we're going to see vocabulary for good and bad experiences and the way that you can talk about them. So which expressions are about good experiences, which are about bad experiences, and which can be about both? So here we have, it was really or it was very, both mean the same actually. And then we have some adjectives. In this case, we're going to complete the sentence using some adjectives. So we can say, it was really exciting, or it was very interesting, difficult, boring, and strange, right? And in the next part, we're going to be looking at the expression I had. When we're going to complete this, we're not going to use adjectives anymore, but nouns. I had a great time. I had lots of fun. A terrible time, a lovely time, and a very bad time. So here you can have a look. We have some synonyms, right? Terrible or very bad, right? Those are synonyms. So which words can you use to talk about good experiences? You can say exciting. Something was exciting. Interesting. That's also positive. A great time. Lots of fun. And a lovely time. Yes, all of those are for very good experiences. Now, negative experiences, on the other hand, you can say that something is difficult, very difficult, or boring, which means not interesting, right? The opposite. A terrible time or a very bad time. Now, the word strange in this case can be used for both, right? When we talk about a new experience, so things might be strange, not necessarily bad, but not necessarily good either, right? Like something in between. Now, the next part is going to be a homework for you. I'm going to um, submit a homework where you can post your answers to this particular type task of the lesson. It says write down one or two important events in your life, so things that marked your life so far. Here we have some examples. The time where you got married, or maybe when you moved to a new house. If you went on a trip, had a baby, got a new job, met an important person, started school or started university, that's a very important event, or maybe the time that you started a new course, right? So think about one or two of these important events and try to think about when did it happen? Was it last month or many years ago? Where? At work, in Tokyo, in a club. What happened? So then you talked about the experience itself. And how was it, or how did you feel in that moment? It was exciting, or I had a terrible time, right? So I'm going to leave a homework on the Aula Virtual so you can complete it there. All right? Now, let's move on to the final part. We're going to be looking at something very different. We're going to be doing the keyword have. So, have is a verb that can be used for many, many different things, right? So, we have a lot of collocations using the verb have. So, all of these expressions can be used with the verb have, like have lunch, have a bath, have a cat, a meal, and so on. Try to classify these expressions into these four categories: possessions, activities, food and drink, and relationships, right? So pause the video now and classify these expressions into these four categories. So let's see. For possessions, we can say have a new car, have a cat, have a digital camera, have a nice flat, and that's it, right? Now, for activities, we can say have a bath or have a shower as well, have a meal, have a shower over here, have a meeting, have a lesson, or have a conversation. Then for food and drink, you can say have dinner, have breakfast, have lunch. You can also say have a meal, of course, have something to eat, have a drink, have a sandwich, have a coffee. For relationships, we say have two brothers, have a lot of friends. And this one, I forgot, is for activities, right? So have a break when you're studying and then you have a break, right, from studying. This is an activity. Very good. Now, the second part is speaking. So, of course, it's going to be a bit difficult, but try to answer these questions, right? So make these sentences questions and try to answer them. So, for example, number 1 says, has a big family. So, do you have a big family? Do you have breakfast after 10 in the morning? Then we have one in past. So we say, did you have a conversation online yesterday with someone? Now that we are in quarantine, we have a lot of online conversations, right? Do you know someone that doesn't have a lunch break? Or don't you have a lunch break sometimes? Do you have a cat? Do you have long meetings at work? Now, answer these questions using past time expressions. So, when was the last time you had a bad morning? Maybe you can say today, yesterday, 2 weeks ago. Or when was the last time you had a long journey? A great night out, a terrible weekend, a nice meal in a restaurant. So try to answer these questions and try to tell what happened. So we can talk about this in our next online meeting and we can share some experiences, right? So that is the end for today's lesson. It's going to be very short, right? Remember to do the homework I assigned you about the writing task and to check on the Aula Virtual for more exercises for you to practice before the test. All right, so I will see you very, very soon. Take care and bye.